our previous method was to induce memory,
Pathological states can induce abnormal strength.
How did you induce paralysis in your victims?
Hey everyone, and welcome to TalkWord. This is the show where we get into the nitty-gritty of the English language. Today, we're tackling a really interesting one, a word that's all about subtle power, induce. You know, we're always talking about making something happen or forcing a result. But what about those times when you need a gentler touch? How do you encourage something to happen without just demanding it? Well, that, my friends, is exactly where our word induce steps in. All right, so let's get right into it. The best way to think about induce is to forget about commands or orders. It's not a hard push, it's more like a gentle nudge. The real magic words here are persuasion and influence. See, induce is never about brute force. It's really the art of setting the stage, creating just the right conditions so that something happens, almost like it was its own idea. Could be an action, a feeling, whatever. The point is, you're causing it, but indirectly. Okay, let's make this super clear. Imagine you want a friend to join your book club. You could just go up to them and say, hey, you have to sign up. That is a hard shove. It's super direct, kind of forceful, and let's be honest, probably not going to work. But using induce, well, that's the gentle nudge. Instead, you might, casually leave the book you're reading on the coffee table. You talk about how amazing the discussions are. Maybe mention there's an open spot. You see what you're doing? You're creating an atmosphere that induces their interest. You're not pushing them, you're just lining up the dominoes so they're tempted to tip the first one themselves. Okay, so where does this word actually pop up in real life? Well, you'd be surprised. We're going to see it everywhere from a hospital room to your Spotify playlist. First up, let's tackle a really common one, a formal medical setting. This is probably where you've heard the word induce the most. So in this case, the doctor isn't, forcing the baby out. What they're doing is using medicine to kickstart the body's own natural process. They're giving it a nudge to get started, not ordering it to happen. See the difference? But it's not all medical jargon. Nope. We use induce all the time, especially when we talk about how our surroundings can totally change how we feel. I mean, think about it. Nobody is shouting, relax, at you, right? The music, the warm fire, they're just creating the perfect vibe, the perfect conditions for that feeling of calm to just happen. They've induced it. All right, let's switch gears and get a little more intellectual, because induce is huge when it comes to how we think and come up with ideas. This is literally the idea behind something called inductive reasoning. It's where you look at a bunch of small, specific facts, and all that evidence leads you, or influences you, to a bigger, general conclusion. The facts don't just hand you the answer. They kind of nudge your brain in the right direction. Okay, to really get a grip on induce, I think the best thing to do is put it head-to-head with some other words you probably use. It's these tiny differences that can make your language so much more powerful. All right, first up, induce versus persuade. When you persuade someone, you're using arguments, right? You're using logic to convince them to do something, like, here's why you should buy this ticket. It's a direct appeal. But induce is different. You don't persuade a feeling. That sad movie didn't persuade you to be sad, it induced that feeling in you. It's indirect. And then there's cause. How is it different? Well, cause is like a light switch. Flip, the light comes on. It's a direct, boom, action-reaction thing. Your alarm caused you to wake up. Induce, that's more like tending a garden. You give it water, you give it sun, and over time, those conditions induce the plant to grow. It's way more gradual, way more indirect. Okay, this is all great, but when should you actually use this word? Let's break it down into a super simple checklist so you can start using it with confidence. All you have to do is ask yourself two things. One, is what's happening indirect? And two, is it about influence or setting the stage instead of just force? If you can say yes to both of those, then chances are induce is the perfect word you're looking for. So you see, induce is so much more than just causing something. It's about skillfully, even artfully, creating the right conditions for change to happen. It's a pretty powerful idea when you think about it, which kind of makes you wonder, what change are you going to induce today? Hey, if you had fun breaking this word down with me, you should definitely check out the TalkWord mobile app. You can dive into tons of other words, and get this, you can even create your very own explainers with our two friendly hosts. It's a lot of fun. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on TalkWord.
They use sense and nerve gases to induce hallucinations.
Spermatic ejaculation can only induce homeostasis in me if accompanied